Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Locks Don't Lie weekend preview show. I'm your host, Tony Betts. And before we get to Tony NASCAR, why don't we review our betting weekend at Michigan? Up and down weekend for Tony NASCAR as we finish the weekend just about even, plus 0.2 units on the weekend. But heading into NFL Sundays, we'll take plus 0.2 units every single NFL Sunday of this year. Disappointing for how we've been going, though, but cannot be disappointed with the results in the Xfinity Series race. 4 in a row for Tony NASCAR. That's impressive. I know he's got to be excited. And it was none other than the grandson, Ty Gibbs, plus 450, cashing it home for us. You heard that here first on the Locks Don't Lie weekend preview show. And then bad luck for a lot of people. But shout out to this guy right here. He told all of us, no love for Harvick. Here's your love for Harvick. Congratulations to Kevin Harvick on an excellent win. I'm done losing money on you, but good W to everybody who picked up the Kevin Harvick 25-1. That's enough of last week. Let's invite Tony NASCAR to step on in here. Tony, how are you doing? You've been absolutely insane in the Xfinity Series this year. I don't know how to check the numbers officially. I don't have a way to check that, but I do feel like the Xfinity Series has been my most profitable series this year. That's very exciting. And just like the victory laps, we're not going to sulk for long around here. Let's move on out of Michigan. Let's get on down to Richmond. Why don't you go ahead and preview the truck series for us? Let's quickly highlight the truck race on Saturday night at Richmond. After a week off, the boys in the trucks are ready for round 2 of the NASCAR playoffs, and this looks to be an exciting one as they go to another short flat track of Richmond. I got 2 guys in mind without me even having odds posted right now. That's John Hunter Nemechek, obviously been a favorite all year, and then Grant Enfinger. I wasn't on him a couple weeks ago at IRP, and I was disappointed the whole race. I hope we can ride some of that great momentum that Grant has. He finished first here in the 2020 race, and he finished 8th here after starting in 3rd last year. He's got the 2nd best driver rating and 2nd best speed figure at this track besides John Hunter Nemechek, so I'm definitely going to take some Grant Enfinger. As for John Hunter Nemechek, like I just said, he's the fastest in all 3 speed figures: early run, late run, and total green flag speed, as well as the highest by far driver rating out of anyone in this field. I think John Hunter Nemechek is going to be a heavy favorite, and deservingly so. Other than that, like I say every week, you have to look at Zane Smith, you got to look at Chandler Smith, and I do believe Ty Majeski is going to be a great short track ace like we always look for at tracks like this. Well, I think I speak for everybody here along with our millions. Why don't we move on to the Cup Series? All right, we'll move on to the Cup Series, Tony. And like I said earlier, it's a short, flat track. So the tracks I'm looking at for the Cup Series in order to handicap this week are going to be Gateway, Phoenix, New Hampshire, and of course, the Richmond race that we ran earlier. Now we're getting somewhere, Tony. Taking all that into account, what'd your numbers bring you to this week? Yep, Tony, I like to start off at the top and work my way down the odds board like usual. So up at the top of the odds list, driver I want to highlight, Martin Truex Jr. You cannot ignore his short flat track speed. He's been crazy fast this year. I'll be honest, the plus 700 is not very enticing to me. I am not that much of a fan on betting 7-1 on Martin Truex Jr., but you can't ignore how fast he's been, and I think the number is only going to go down as the weekend continues. Another one of the, I guess we'll call him favorites here, since he's under 10-1, Chase Elliott. I mean, I'm surprised he's not one of the favorites in this race. He's been absolutely insane, but given the speed that Gibbs has shown in the recent weeks, it makes sense exactly where the odds are at. Well, you said that magic number, Tony. You got anybody down under the 10-1 range that you're looking at? I do have a couple long shots I want to point out, Tony. First, I want to point out a driver who has not won all season, has been crazy fast all year, and just hasn't won a race. Ryan Blaney. His green flag speeds at like tracks this year go like this: 2nd at Gateway, 4th at Richmond, 2nd at Phoenix. That's absolutely insane speed that you cannot ignore. With a 22nd at New Hampshire, I'll just throw that one out of here. At 12-1, I'm definitely going to be looking to lay down a little bit on Ryan Blaney, especially knowing how fast those Penske cars have been at these short flat tracks. And speaking of Penske, another driver I want to highlight who I think is being disrespected with the odds, opened at bet 20 to 1, already bet down to 15 to 1, Joey Logano. Joey has the third best average green flag speed out of all the correlating tracks that we talked about earlier. Phoenix, Richmond that we ran earlier in the year, New Hampshire, Gateway. So I'm sure by the time the odds are posted at my book, it'll even be down to 10 to 1. I might have to take some of that 10 to 1. I know I'm going to be taking some Ryan Blaney and Joey Logano this weekend. If the numbers are right and if they stay up above 10 to 1, I'm taking those blue ovals at anything above 10 to 1. Thanks for all that information, Tony. I think that's enough from you this week. Thank you. And before we go, I have a very, very special guest to introduce to the Locks Don't Lie weekend preview show. Tony, why don't you step on in here? It is great to see you. I know you have to be excited to be on your first edition of the Locks Don't Lie weekend preview show. How are you doing after the offseason? It's great to see you, Tony. I am so excited to be here on the Locks Don't Lie weekend preview show, and I'm just excited to get this NFL season started. Well, I don't know if you can tell my excitement. I'm jumping out of my shoes right now. What do you got for us for the preseason? Well, you can call me Tony Preseason. You can call me Tony Trends because we are hammering the trends this preseason. Why don't we go over a couple? Some of the trends that we're going to want to hammer are some head coaches who just take preseason seriously. There's two head coaches that come to mind when you look at their against the spread and straight up record. Obviously, everybody knows the first one I'm going to say, the Baltimore Ravens and John Harbaugh. In his NFL career, John Harbaugh, 36-15-1. That's 71% against the spread. To make it even sweeter, since 2016, the Baltimore Ravens have not lost a preseason game. 20-0 straight up, going 17-2-1 against the spread in that span. The Baltimore Ravens, for me, are an auto bet every single preseason. Another coach that's turning into a very quick auto bet is the Buffalo Bills head coach of Sean McDermott. Sean McDermott against the spread in his NFL career is 10-4-1. We're going to be looking at that Buffalo Bills spread all preseason as well. And then, if it's Tony Preseason, you know Tony Unders is coming out. Tony Unders loves betting on the preseason with those ugly mid-30 numbers. Shout out to Matthew Friedman on Twitter for doing God's work. Since 2007, Hard Knocks teams in the preseason, their over-under is 17-34-1 to the over. Take a look at those Detroit Lions unders. Some other unders you're going to want to take a look at, the game between Tampa Bay and the Miami Dolphins. Take a look at the weather for that game. The unders are 8-1 all time in NFL games played in 90-degree plus weather. It's going to be hot. It's going to be muggy down here in Tampa Bay. Make sure you check out that weather report. If that thing's plus 90, we're going to take that under. Another one I want to highlight, Tony, before I let you go, I appreciate your time here, is Sean McVay out in L.A. That man does not give a about the preseason. 10-4-1 to the under in his preseason career. He just wants his guys to make it to week one. We're going to take the under and Sean McVay all preseason as well. Tony, as always, thank you so much. I'm so excited to see you, and it's going to be a great season of NFL football coming up. This is just your first episode, and I am already pumped about what you have for this season. Thank you so much for joining us. While Tony NFL steps out, why don't we go over our official picks for the weekend? We have got an absolutely stacked card this weekend, starting tomorrow night at 7:30, where Tony Preseason, Tony NFL, brought himself to being Tony Harbaugh because he's going with the -3.5 for the Baltimore Ravens against the Tennessee Titans. Moving on to the next NFL pick, we have an under for you Friday at 6 p.m. Looks like Tony was able to bring himself to under 33 in the Lions-Falcons game. Saturday afternoon at 4 p.m., he's looking to hammer Sean McDermott and the Buffalo Bills as he goes for the -3.5 against the Indianapolis Colts. Second round of the Truck Series playoffs, and Tony NASCAR was able to bring himself to a couple of pre-practice, pre-qualifying Truck Series lines. He's got one unit on the favorite, John Hunter Nemechek, plus 300, and then a couple quarter units on the long shots that he highlighted earlier with very fast green flag speed, Ben Rhodes and Grant Enfinger. And to continue the stacked up Saturday card for Tony Preseason, he has the under in the Buccaneers-Miami Dolphins game. That game is played here in Tampa Bay, and he is looking forward to that weather being plus 90 degrees and that under being under 33. Another under on the day, as he knows Sean McVay does not give a about the preseason. We're taking the under for the Rams-Chargers, 31.5. And then on Sunday, looks like Tony NASCAR was able to put himself down for 4 pre-practice, pre-qualifying bets for the Cup Series race, as he's got a half unit spread across 2 different drivers there as your long shots, Ryan Blaney and Joey Logano. And then he's got a full unit spread across the favorites, Martin Truex Jr. and Denny Hamlin. He couldn't deny the speed of Martin Truex Jr. and Denny Hamlin, especially recently. They're the favorites for a reason. You got to lay down a little scratch and see how they come out after practice and qualifying. That's going to about wrap it up here at the Locks Don't Lie Weekend Preview Show. For Tony NASCAR and Tony NFL, I'm Tony Betts. May the winners be yours. Locks don't lie.